Welcome to the 1-year review of my Yeti SB150 Dream Build. My name is Jonathan Lee and I'm a Yeti Cycles ambassador, and this is what I have done to this bike, I guess, just to build it up and to tweak it for my personal needs over the past year. I usually race XC, do some crit racing even, cyclocross, all that stuff, but I also do enduro every once in a while as well. And I built this bike up really for EWS Northstar that happened just in 2019 and smashing rocks like this. Nice chunky rocks. So that's what this bike was really built for, and spoiler alert, I absolutely love this bike. It's fantastic. And basically I had to do a handful of things to make it fit me well, but really not a whole lot in terms of tweaks and adjustments. But we'll go over those things here. So first things first, this bike is a TURQ Series frame, which basically means, as you'll be able to see right here at the insignia there, that basically means that it's a higher modulus carbon, which means it weighs less, but still gives the desired handling characteristics that they designed for that bike. And this bike wasn't really about weight. I think it was somewhere in between 28 to 30 pounds, somewhere around there. I can't remember what the exact number is, but it wasn't about weight. It was about smashing rocks at high speed and just being, like a machine at that. But the core of this bike is really the switch infinity linkage, and it's a floating lower link that allows them to tune the characteristics or the suspension characteristics of the bike separately from when you're pedaling and descending effectively. And man, it has incredible anti-squat. It never pedal bobs. You never flip a pedal switch, but then it's extremely progressive. It doesn't feel like it catches at all. It's just incredible. Basically a DH bike on the downs, and an XC bike going up in terms of how it pedals. This bike has the Float X2, and I've never got along with the shock. I always felt like it's just like I'm outside of the bell curve. And I actually ended up switching up from the standard tune that comes from Yeti from the factory, and I just got a basic OEM mid tune from Fox, so a different Float X2, and put it on, and it performed better for a lighter weight rider like myself. So I'd recommend that if you're looking at that. As far as clickers, check down in the comments below. We can chat about that, but I was all over the place just to get it to work right. So saddle, that's the Prologo Dimension 143. This is the Tirox saddle, which basically means it has titanium rails. It's a snub nose saddle, and I absolutely love it. It's fantastic, and it's on all of my bikes. I'd recommend it. I have the Rockshox Reverb dropper post, and I couldn't justify shelling out all that cash for the Axis one, so I just went with a cabled one. It's fine because this frame has tube-in-tube routing, so you just run that hydraulic hose right through, and it pops right out where it needs to be. You don't have to fish around. And I have the one by remote on there, and it's totally functional. I know it's not fancy like the Axis, and I would like that, but it's totally functional. I run 740 millimeter wide MVM7 bars, and those are the mid-rise bars. And you can see those two little zip ties. That's how I secure my number plate. You should go check out Yeti Cycles' YouTube channel for that pro tip. Super cool. No more zip ties other than those ones. So I cut the bars to 740, and I find that that's the right width for me. I'm not a very big person. I wear like a size 38 to 40 suit jacket, so not that big. And it works great for me. Then specialized top cap little tool that holds the link, but I've never actually used it, but I got it there just in case, I guess. That is a 50 millimeter ENVE stem, and the bar and stem both have a 35 millimeter clamp area, and the 50 mil stem worked better than the 35 for me. I tried it, and 50 just felt a lot better. So even with the long front center of this bike. Those are the ODI Pro, I can't remember the exact name, but if you look down in the description, you'll see the name of the grips. And they're awesome because they have a lock-in on the inside, but not the outside, so they don't wear out your hand. And then I razor blade off the waffle on all the grips because waffle's great if you're riding in mud, but we never have mud where I'm at. Those are the Code RSC brakes, and they are incredible. I love them. They have not changed the way they've performed or felt the entire year. One bleed, and they're perfect, and the power on them is astounding. I have 180 rear rotor and a 220 up front to give me extra braking power there, but extremely powerful, great modulation, love them. Those are the Xpedo, and I can't remember the name of those pedals, but I run Xpedo pedals on my XC bike too. No sponsorship or anything. It's just I like the XC ones. So just to keep it simple, I ran those. And then right there, I have the 1UP chain guide. and I also with a bash guard down below, and then I'm running a 32 tooth chainring, and it just barely clears on this bike, pretty tight clearances. And speaking of that, there's the 4eyes power meter, and in this case I actually had to put it on the drive side, so I sent it to them and they installed it, and it's an incredible power meter. It works very well. I would highly recommend it, but didn't fit on non-drive, only on drive. There's the Axis 1050 rainbow cassette, love it. And the aesthetic matches really well with the bike and the fancy sparkle overlays that I have on the frame as well. So Axis drivetrain, you can see some scuffing on that derailleur from some nasty stuff at Northstar, but it has that really cool feature where if you hit it, it kind of goes out of the way. There's the shifter. You can see how I have it mounted, and I struggled, and I tried its own independent clamp, lots of different stuff. Couldn't find the right fit. I don't like it. I think that they should have done better ergonomics on that one for sure. So hopefully that's what's next from them. That's the MRP Ribbon coil fork. I ran the coil fork on it this year to try to get a lot of initial suppleness and see how that felt. And I never fully got along with it, I think because I had an air shock on the back. If I probably went coil, it would have matched well and I would have really liked it. But standard 170 mil travel. And man, one thing that fork does have is incredible suppleness right off the top. I stepped up one spring rate for my weight, and I liked that. I got less bottoming and everything else, and somehow it still feels fairly progressive. So you can see I have the low speed compression 4 clicks in right there, and that's what worked for my weight and my riding style going up one spring rate. But yeah, impressive fork, especially if I had a coil. Has the bleeders on the lowers. I've never heard air come out, but that doesn't mean they don't work. Air could very well be coming out, and pressure does build up there, so it's good to get rid of it. You don't press them when you're riding, just when it's sitting in fully extended. And there's a dialed MTB fender, MTB podcast one. I'm sure you're curious about MTB podcast. Stay tuned. There's more information coming soon. I just can't say anything right now. Okay, so for these wheels, I have the ENVE M730 wheels. They have that awesome protective rim strip, 30 millimeter internal width. These wheels are absolutely incredible. I slammed them all year at Northstar, and I even ran the final stage Boondocks flat all the way to the bottom with no tire inserts, and the thing is perfect, absolutely perfect. So I love those wheels. Bravo ENVE, and those rim strips are awesome. They're very functional, and you don't have to use rim tape, which is the coolest thing ever. i9 Hydra hubs. I was skeptical at first. Now I love them, and I want them on all my bikes. The engagement's incredible, and maintenance is great, everything. They're even quiet, which is cool. So Assegai tires, 29.2 by 2.5, and I run the EXO Plus, and I only got one flat at Northstar all year, that one on stage 5. I love these tires so much. As a front tire, the Assegai is the best one I've ever used. As a rear, I have it on the rear too, but it's almost a little too grippy at times. I might recommend running something like a DHF, even though that sounds weird in back, if you want a little bit more of a playful feel in back. Specialized Z cage, and I don't run the carbon one on this bike. I like that, and I like pulling from the left because my throttle hand still stays on from old moto habits. And then I also have that little multi-tool down there, just handy to always have a tool and to never be without one. The little plugs that I have in there are because I have the Axis drivetrain and I don't run the cable. Obviously, there is no cable to run. So Yeti makes these handy little plugs that you put into those holes on the frame, and I really like that. Just a clean thing. And that's the bike, more or less. For settings down below on the air shock and everything else, check that out down below in the description and in comments. But I absolutely love this bike. It's incredible. And I honestly think this is a bike that it shocked me with how well it pedaled, and you can ride it all day. But man, it just does not get thrown offline ever when you're descending, even when you make some pretty bad mistakes. And you can actually check out the Trainer Road YouTube channel to see when I rode Northstar or EWS Northstar, and Richie Rude broke down my performance on each stage with POV footage. So check that out, and we'll see you all soon.